If you're a coach, consultant, agency owner, or professional service provider, and you've been looking for a way to make more sales with less stress, I want to show you how we're using what we call cash flow workshops to do just that. Make more sales with a lot less stress. And here's the thing. If you learn how to implement this type of system in your business, you can literally turn your business into a cash printing machine. My name is Bruce Goodwin, if we haven't met, and I'm a business owner just like you. And I'm not sure how much we're alike, but let me know if this sounds like you. I personally enjoy business. However, I did not get into business for it to consume my life. I got into business for a few reasons. Number one, because I've got a skill set that I know can help people. And I feel like the right thing to do is to use that skill set to help people. Number two, I got into business because I wanted time freedom and financial freedom. I want to be able to make decisions for my family and for myself, to be able to experience life at the highest level possible. We've only got a certain amount of time here, and I want to experience everything that I possibly can. And I see business as an avenue to do that. I am not the guy that wants to be 24/7, 365 days working. And I have realized over the years through building businesses and consulting with others that are building businesses is that it's so easy to build a business that controls you rather than you being in control of the business. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to have a sales process that doesn't align with who you are and doesn't align with your goals. By sales process, what I mean is the way that people buy your stuff. And I have found that using cash flow workshops has increased the effectiveness of our sales process, has enabled us to make more sales, make them a lot easier, and make them a lot faster. Now, for me, this all started years ago. I was running a service-based business. At the time, it was a martial arts school. And this martial arts / self-defense school, the way we would get customers is we would market and we put our marketing out there. People would enroll in our programs, whether it was an adult self-defense program, a teen program, a kid program. We would book calls or appointments. They would come in. We would have a consultation, talk to them, give them some value, present our program, and a portion of them would sign up. It's the same sales process that many coaches or consultants are using right now. You put out some information, people book sales calls, get on your calendar, you present value, pitch your program, and a percentage of them sign up. Very common sales process. Well, the problem that I ran into was that I had people booking appointments and calls that didn't show up for them. I had people booking appointments and calls that were not qualified. They didn't have the resources financially, but they had no problem scheduling or booking the call. I had people booking appointments that were not ready to purchase. I had people booking appointments that weren't even really sure if this was something they wanted to do. They just wanted to hear more about it. And so after like pulling my hair out, whatever hair I had left, I don't have much, I said there's got to be a better way. And so what we started doing was running simple free workshops. And it's the same type of system that we used in that business that grew that school from just a few students to hundreds of students that we're using now in our virtual business and with our clients to grow coaching, consulting, and agency programs from a few clients to hundreds of clients without adding stress. So what we would do is we would have a community workshop where we would get around a certain topic, whether it was self-defense or awareness or a neighborhood watch type of event. And we would end up enrolling 10, 15, 20 clients in the same time or less time that it would take us to enroll one. And it was through the power of simple workshops. We've now developed that system for the online space to be able to do simple free workshops that increase revenue while decreasing stress. So generally, if you are running into some of the same problems that I did, you're having one of three sales process problems. And cash flow workshops solve these problems. The number one problem that people are having is not enough sales opportunities. So not enough. Now, if you're running into a problem where you don't have enough qualified sales opportunity, it's very difficult to grow your business. And here's why. Because you make money in your business this way. Listen, the more offers that you make, so offers, the more of them you make, that's an arrow there if you can't tell, the more money you make. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you have, let me grab my eraser here. Let's say you have two people, business owner A. They both have the same business. This is business owner A. They both have the same business. They both have the same price point. This is business owner B. Okay. But the only difference is their sales process. Business owner A takes individual sales calls, right? And so he puts out his marketing and he's taking these calls. People get on his calendar. Maybe he's running some ads or something. People get on the calendar and he sells one-on-one. Let's say on a good day, he's made 10 offers. So he's had 10 sales calls. All right. So on Monday, he has made 10 offers. If you take sales calls, you know that just because you take the call doesn't mean they say yes. So let's say he's really good and he's got a 50% closing rate. So 50%, that means he's made 5 sales. Not a bad day. Okay. So he's made 10 offers. He's made 5 sales. But business owner B has shifted from selling one-to-one to one-to-many. And this is the shift that I made and the shift that I specialize in helping people make, shifting from selling one-to-one to one-to-many. Now, with the same day, on Monday, rather than doing one-on-one presentations, he does a workshop. So instead of making 10 offers, he gets 100 people to his workshop. He gets 100 people with the same in the same place at the same time on the same, let's say he's using Zoom, to host a simple, valuable workshop. And his sales skills are pretty much the same as business owner A. Business owner B also closes at 50%, but he has now made 50 sales. All right? Now think about the power of this. Business owner B has made 10 times as many sales as business owner A simply because he used a different sales process. Simply because he stopped selling one-to-one. He stopped selling one-to-one and started selling one-to-many with the same amount of time, actually less time, because to do 10 sales calls is probably going to take you at least 8 hours out of your day because you got to get on the phone. You got to deal with the emotional side. You got to ask a bunch of questions. You got to go through all of the rigmarole of a sales call. If you've ever taken one, you know what I'm talking about. You got to talk about the dog and the weather, and you got to build rapport. So it's going to take him 8 to 10 hours. Here, he has collapsed time, and he has made 100 offers, maybe in an hour and a half, on a free workshop where he provides value, gets the same closing percentage, and makes 50 sales simply because he made an adjustment in his sales process from selling one-to-one to one-to-many. And this is the same adjustment that I've made and that I'm helping other people make who are running into the problem of not having enough opportunity. But that's not the only problem that is typical around sales and the sales process. So some people say, hey, I don't have enough opportunity or I'm not making enough offers. Others are saying, hey, I am getting plenty of opportunity, but the people that I'm speaking to, see if this is you, are not qualified. This can be more frustrating than not having enough. This means that you're talking to the wrong people. Now, let's talk about what somebody needs to be qualified for your offer. Number one, they need to know what you sell. Have you ever been on a sales call and you know that you did the VSL or the automated webinar, or you put the flyer out and they get on the call and they're almost oblivious to what it is that you actually sell, and more importantly, the problem that you solve? An unqualified lead is someone who is not sure of the problem that you solve and someone who is not sure of their problem. And a sale is made when a person can see your solution as the solution for their problem. So if they're unsure of what you sell and they're unsure of their problem, it's going to be difficult to make that sale. And at the least, you're going to have to help them understand what you sell and help them see their problem on the sales call, which drains your time and your energy. So a person who's not qualified, number one, may not know what you sell. In order for a person to be qualified, they also have to, and I mentioned this before, they have to know what their problem is. What their problem is. Now, key tip here. The job of your marketing is to demonstrate or to show them both what their problem is and what your new solution is for that problem. But in order for a sale to be made, number one, they have to know what you sell. But number two, they have to be very clear on what their problem is. And you would think that if a person's experiencing a problem on a daily basis, that they would know what the problem is. But often people don't know what the problem is. And if on a sales call, you're trying to help them identify what their problem is, rather than helping them identify what their problem is earlier in the process, you're going to be fighting in an uphill battle and wasting a lot of time with a lot of people who are not qualified. So for somebody to be qualified, they need to know what you sell. They need to know what their problem is. And for me, this is for me. they need to have an idea of the price. Now, I don't always tell exactly what the price is, but I always give a roundabout idea of what the price is because we don't sell cheap stuff. And I don't want somebody to get on a call with me thinking they're going to buy a $27 ebook from a call. That's not going to happen. So I want them to know that there is an investment. And in many cases, we just straight up tell them what the investment is so that by the time we get on the call with them, they know, they have an idea of the price, and we're not hitting them with sticker shock. We're not trying to trick somebody into purchasing anything. We want them to see that the value of what we offer far exceeds the price. And so cash flow workshops allow you to make this very apparent. Let people know that there's an investment so that you're not wasting your time, getting all nervous, getting up to the point where you're going to tell them how much it costs. And they're like waiting and you're waiting and you're like, it's $29.97. And the phone goes silent. No, for somebody to be qualified, I want them to have an idea of the fact that there's an actual investment for this. And in order for them to be qualified, and this is one that many people forget, you also want them to know the cost of inaction. This is a huge one, and this will help you today if you're taking sales calls. There's a difference between price and cost, all right? The price is the dollar amount, like how much your thing is priced. So it may be $5,000, $4,000, maybe $20,000. The cost or cost of inaction is what it is costing a person to not move forward. And unless they are clear on what it is costing them to not move forward, it's difficult for them to make a buying decision. And this is one that people forget all the time. Let's say you sell weight loss, all right? Your program might be $2,500. But what is the cost of inaction? The cost of inaction, meaning the cost of them staying overweight, is health problems in the future. It may be early death. It may be missing out on family functions, unable to play with their children. All of these types of things are things that we're able to really dig into in a cash flow workshop and show them that there's a greater cost of an action than there is a price. When people can see that the cost of an action is greater than the price, it's easy to buy. And there's no better place to demonstrate that than in one of these cash flow workshops. For instance, so here's a question. What is the cost of not knowing how to sell one-to-many and only being good at selling one-to-one? Well, you saw in the last example, which was on the board, that person B sold 10 times as many of what they sell, of their coaching, of their consulting, as person A, simply because they knew how to sell one-to-many. That means that it could be costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to not have a system for selling one-to-many and continuing just to sell one-to-one. That is the cost of inaction. It could literally be hundreds of thousands of dollars. And aside from the dollar cost, there's also a time cost. There's also a sacrifice of experience cost, because while you're sitting there wasting time on sales calls with people who are not qualified, you could be playing with your kids. You could be spending time with your wife. You could be on that vacation with your husband. So the cost of inaction always is going to be greater than the price of the program. And you can demonstrate that very clearly and very easily on one of these cash flow workshops. And it makes your sales a whole lot easier. The third problem that we solve with these cash flow workshops is a lot of people will say, hey, I'm getting leads in. They are qualified, but they're not ready. Okay, so if you're getting a lot of people on the phone and you're getting them to the point and they're like, hey, let me think about it. You're like, oh, you know what your problem is. You know what the solution is. You're not ready. These types of workshops help people get ready. The number one thing that you hear is, I need to think about it. Now, we know the technique for when you hear somebody say, I need to think about it, is to isolate the objection. You ask them, what is it that you need to think about? Do you need to think about the price? Do you need to think about the program? Do you need to think about me? By the way, if you're not using that, use that. When somebody says, I need to think about it, and then you can overcome the objection and do all those types of things. But that takes so much time. In a cash flow workshop, we overcome this objection over and over and over again. One, by our presentation, but two, by my favorite part of these workshops, which if you implement this system, you'll learn how to do. It's during the Q&A. So we have a section in every one of our workshops where we give people an opportunity to ask questions. And when they ask the questions, we're helping them overcome the feeling of not being ready. And the beautiful part about this is because we're selling one to many, there are many people on the workshop asking questions. And so as they're asking their questions and we're answering them, we're not only overcoming the objections of the person who asked the questions, we're also overcoming the objections of the people who didn't ask a question but are thinking the same thing. And so it creates this synergy and it creates this flow that makes sales so much easier. Listen, I want you to watch the next video because in the next video, I want to show you the 4 profit centers in these cash flow workshops. When we do this, they're free workshops, but we get paid before the workshop, we get paid during the workshop, we get paid right after the workshop, and then we get paid long after the workshop. And I want to show you exactly how we do it and how you can do it in your business. Check out the next video as we go a little deeper.